There's no greater reward at the end of a challenging hike than a beautiful waterfall. Witnessing the power of Mother Nature in full force inspires a feeling of awe and an appreciation for natural beauty. Perhaps this primitive instinct is what motivates us to chase waterfalls, searching for the biggest, best, and most breathtaking waterfall all over the world. With that in mind, here are 15 mind-blowing waterfalls you won't believe are real, each more stunning than the last. Let's start off with number 15, Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe and Zambia. Well, Victoria Falls doesn't just impress. It obliterates any expectation you might have about waterfalls. This beast spans 1,708 meters wide and crashes 108 meters down into the gorge below, creating a near-permanent mist that rises so high it looks like smoke. No wonder the locals call it the smoke that thunders. You don't just look at Victoria Falls, you feel it. Twice the height of Niagara Falls and more than double the width of Horseshoe Falls, it's easily one of Earth's most powerful natural wonders. Thrill seekers can swim in the infamous Devil's Pool, while the less daring can take in the view from one of the many scenic overlooks. Those looking for an adrenaline rush can bungee jump off Victoria Falls Bridge or go whitewater rafting down the raging Zambezi. The falls are accessible from Zimbabwe and Zambia, with easy crossings between the two. If you visit at peak flow, prepare to get drenched. Victoria Falls doesn't do anything halfway. Number 14, Blood Falls, Antarctica. Most waterfalls are a thing of beauty. This one looks like a murder scene. Blood Falls spills from the Taylor Glacier in Antarctica, staining the ice with a deep rust-red flow that looks like actual blood. But don't worry, there's no crime scene here, just some hardcore science at work. The blood-red color comes from an underground saltwater lake buried beneath the glacier for millions of years. This ancient oxygen-starved water is packed with iron, and when it finally reaches the surface and hits air, it oxidizes, aka rusts, creating that eerie crimson streak. It's one of the weirdest sights on Earth, and getting there isn't exactly a casual trip. You'll need to hop on a helicopter or book an Antarctic expedition to see it in person. But for those who make the journey, it's a reminder that even in the most extreme places on Earth, nature still finds a way to surprise us. Number 13, Datian Falls, Vietnam and China. Some waterfalls look like they belong in a painting. Datian Falls is that painting, only real and far more spectacular. Tucked away on the border between Vietnam and China, this three-tiered giant cascades through limestone karst peaks, shifting with the seasons. In the dry months, it splits into separate streams, but when the rains come, the water merges into a single, roaring spectacle. It's also Asia's largest transnational waterfall, with locals on both sides claiming it as their own. In Vietnam, it's called Ban Giok, and on the Chinese side, it's Datian. No matter what name you use, the best way to experience it is by hopping on a bamboo raft, which takes you so close, you'll feel the mist on your skin. Want to take it all in from above? The surrounding cliffs offer panoramic views that make the journey here more than worth it. But keep your eyes open. Number 12, Hanoki Falls and Shomyo Falls, Japan. Japan's tallest waterfall depends on when you visit. Hanoki Falls stands at a jaw-dropping 497 meters, but only for a few months a year. Fed by melting snow from the Midagahara Plateau, it vanishes outside of April to July. The rest of the time, its neighbor, Shomyo Falls, takes over as the tallest year-round waterfall in the country. When both are flowing, they form a stunning twin cascade that slices through Toyama Prefecture's rugged landscape. This is also one of Japan's prime koyo spots, where red and gold leaves frame the falling water in an almost unreal display of color. Getting here isn't complicated. There's a scenic road open between May and November, or you can take a bus from Tateyama Station. But don't expect an easy touristy stroll. This is a place that demands effort. And if you make it, The view alone is worth the journey. Number 11. Tugela Falls, South Africa. Tugela Falls isn't just a waterfall, it's a 948-meter drop that makes your stomach lurch just looking at it. Officially the second tallest waterfall in the world, or maybe the first, depending on who's measuring, this five-tiered giant slices through the Drakensberg Mountains like a silver ribbon. And here's the kicker. Sometimes it vanishes completely. Since the Tugela River is seasonal, the falls can dry up, turning what was once a roaring cascade into thin air. But when the summer rains hit, November to February, it transforms into an unstoppable force. Hikers can either tackle the climb to the summit for a jaw-dropping aerial view or take the trail to the base, where the mist and sheer scale of the drop leave you humbled. Either way, it's one of those places that reminds you how small you really are. All right, guys. Now, let's talk about number 10. Sutherland Falls, New Zealand. Sutherland Falls doesn't care about rankings. It just exists, in all its untamed 1,900-foot glory. Tucked away in the remote fjordland wilderness, this waterfall is a pure, raw spectacle. Water plunges down 3 brutal drops, churning up a mist that turns the air electric. Hikers on the Milford Track hear it long before they see it, a distant roar that grows louder with every step. Discovered in the 19th century by Scottish settler Donald Sutherland, this cascade was once thought to be the world's tallest. That title didn't stick, but no one's complaining. Standing at its base, you're reminded why New Zealand's landscapes feel almost unreal. Reaching it requires some effort and a lot of braveness and gut, whether by foot or scenic flight, but the payoff? Well, total immersion in a landscape where nature doesn't ask for your attention, it demands it. Number 9. Jog Falls, India. Jog Falls doesn't bother with subtlety. When the Sharavathi River is in full flood, this 253-meter monster goes from a gentle trickle to an all-out vertical explosion. The 4 separate cascades, Raja, Rani, Roarer, and Rocket, each throw themselves off the cliffs in their own way, sometimes merging into one massive roaring wall of water. It's pure chaos, and that's what makes it spectacular. To see it up close, you can hike down 1,400 knee-busting steps to the base, because nothing worth seeing should come easy. From the top, viewpoints near Siddhapura and the iconic Jog Falls viewpoint offer a safer, less exhausting alternative. Best time to visit? August to December, when the monsoon has done its job. The dry season leaves it looking like a shadow of itself. But when the rains hit, Jog Falls becomes a force of nature you feel in your bones. Number 8. Khon Phapheng Falls, Laos. Imagine a river so powerful it refuses to be tamed. That's the Mekong at Khon Phapheng Falls, the widest waterfall on Earth at an almost absurd 10,782 meters across. It's not a graceful plunge or a picturesque trickle. It's a relentless, surging mass of white water that crushes everything in its path. The French once dreamed of using the Mekong as a trade route, but Khon Phapheng had other ideas, stopping all navigation attempts cold. The falls are also home to the few remaining Irrawaddy dolphins, rare creatures that seem almost mythical in the swirling currents. And then there's the playbuck, a catfish so massive it grows up to 300 kilograms, yet somehow survives in this unforgiving torrent. Boats take visitors close enough to feel the power of the water, but honestly, all you need to do is stand near the edge and let the sheer force of it all sink in. Number 7. Kayatur Falls, Guyana. There are waterfalls, and then there's Kayatur. No crowded walkways, no guardrails, just 741 feet of free-falling water crashing into the rainforest with the weight of an entire river. This isn't a place you just visit. It's a place that reminds you exactly how small you are. Getting here is half the adventure. Most people fly in on tiny planes that skim just above the jungle canopy before landing near the falls. From there, it's a short hike to one of the most mind-blowing viewpoints on Earth. There are no fences, no ropes, just you, the edge, and the sound of the falls swallowing everything. The rainforest surrounding Kayatur is home to creatures straight out of a nature documentary. Tiny golden frogs, carnivorous plants, and the kind of untouched wilderness that most of the world has already lost. If there's one waterfall that feels alive, this is it. Number 6. The Losu Waterfall, Thailand. Hidden deep in Thailand's Umphang Wildlife Sanctuary, the Losu Waterfall is the kind of place that feels untouched by time. It's the largest waterfall in Thailand, with multiple tiers cascading down massive limestone cliffs framed by thick, untamed jungle. The falls get their name from the Karen Hill tribe. Some call it Black Waterfall, while others refer to its deafening roar, a sound that echoes through the surrounding forest like a distant storm. Reaching The Losu isn't for the lazy. It's a 5-hour drive from Tak, followed by a 1.8-kilometer trek through dense forest. But the payoff is unreal. There's a cave hidden behind the falls, and natural pools perfect for swimming. The best time to visit is between October and December when the water flow is strongest. But if you're thinking about braving the rainy season, well, it's best to wait for a little bit. Number 5. Gullfoss Falls, Iceland. Gullfoss isn't just Iceland's most famous waterfall, it's the kind of place that makes you believe in old Viking legends. The name means Golden Falls, and when the sun hits the cascading water just right, turning the mist into shimmering gold, it's easy to see why. But unlike most waterfalls that simply drop, Gullfoss does something different. The Vita River takes a dramatic 2-step plunge, disappearing into a deep canyon as if the earth itself is swallowing the water whole. Located on Iceland's Golden Circle route, it's an easy drive from Reykjavik, making it one of the country's most visited spots. In summer, the flow reaches up to 140 cubic meters per second, and rainbows constantly hover in the mist. In winter, it's an entirely different beast, partially frozen, surrounded by snow, and even more dramatic. Just be careful when visiting it. Number 4. Plitvice Falls, Croatia. Plitvice Falls isn't just one waterfall, it's an entire network of them, pouring down limestone cliffs and weaving through 16 emerald green lakes. Set within Croatia's Plitvice Lakes National Park, this place is a surreal mix of waterfalls, wooden boardwalks, and deep, mineral-rich pools that shift colors with the seasons. There's no single best way to explore Plitvice. Hike through the forest, take a boat across the lakes, or ride the park's shuttle buses between scenic spots. The largest and most dramatic waterfall, simply named Large Waterfall, plunges 78 meters down a rugged cliff, while smaller cascades create natural terraces that look almost too perfect to be real. The best time to visit? Spring and autumn, when the crowds thin out and the waterfalls are at their strongest. In winter, the park transforms into a frozen wonderland, with the falls turning into shimmering icicles. Number 3. Niagara Falls, Canada, and USA. Niagara Falls isn't just famous, it's a full-blown spectacle. Straddling the US-Canada border, this trio of waterfalls, Horseshoe Falls, American Falls, and Bridal Veil Falls, moves more water than any other waterfall in North America. Every second, 168,000 cubic meters of water thunder over the edge, creating a near-constant roar that you can hear before you even see it. Horseshoe Falls, the largest, is 50 meters high and 820 meters wide, forming a massive mist-filled curtain. The best way to experience it? Get soaked on the Maid of the Mist boat tour, walk the observation decks, or, if you're feeling daring, take a journey behind the falls through underground tunnels. Niagara is at its most powerful in spring when the ice melts, but winter turns it into something out of a fairy tale. Frozen cascades, ice-covered trees, and an eerie stillness that feels worlds away from its usual chaos. Number 2. Angel Falls, Venezuela. If waterfalls had royalty, Angel Falls would be king. And why not? At 3,212 feet, it's the tallest waterfall in the world, so high that much of the water turns to mist before it even reaches the ground. Tucked deep in Venezuela's Canaima National Park, Angel Falls crashes down from the top of Tepuy, a towering tabletop mountain that looks like something straight out of a lost world. Getting here isn't easy. It requires a flight into Canaima, a river journey through dense jungle, and a rugged hike to the base. But when you finally see it, standing in the shadow of the world's highest uninterrupted waterfall, it's impossible not to feel tiny. The indigenous Pemon people call it Karapakupai Meru, meaning waterfall of the deepest place. Whatever name you use, Angel Falls is less of a landmark and more of a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Number 1. Nokkalikai Falls, India. Nokkalikai Falls isn't just about the water, it's about the legend that stains it. At 340 meters, it's India's tallest plunge waterfall, but the eerie emerald pool at its base tells a much darker story. The name means Jump of Likai, referring to a woman who, upon discovering she had unknowingly eaten her murdered daughter's remains, threw herself off the cliffs in horror. The water still runs as if carrying the weight of her grief. The falls are best seen during monsoon season, when they are at their most powerful, cascading from the cliffs above the mist-drenched landscapes of Meghalaya. But even in the drier months, when the flow slows and the pool below glows an unnatural turquoise, the place feels haunted, not in a spooky way, but in the sense that nature itself remembers. Standing here, looking down into the abyss, it's impossible to shake the feeling that this place has seen things. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.